Everyone, and happy Friday. It's almost the end of the morning on Friday here, and maybe it's still Thursday night where you are in the world. Let me know where you're tuning in from and say hi in the comments. I'd love to hear from you all in the comments. So it's Friday here. Yesterday it was this beautiful, sunny, just happy feeling day with the weather. I get really affected by the weather with my moods. Like when it's sunny and a nice temperature and it's calm and not windy, blue skies, I just feel so much more alive. I don't know about you, let me know. Because today it's gone all cloudy. So I'm so happy that yesterday I made the most of the sunny weather. It just felt like spring yesterday, which is so nice. We're coming into spring here next month officially. But often here in Queensland, it sort of starts to feel like spring a month early, which is really nice. So let me know if you're tuning in. What we're going to talk about today is a really common pain point, I guess, for dog trainers, and that is what do I do if my clients are not complying? They're not putting in the work, they're not doing their homework. It's really frustrating. It means they're not getting the results that I want them to get. That obviously doesn't reflect well back on you as the trainer. What can we do about that? And I've got to say that this is one of the top issues that dog trainers come to me with, apart from being able to get clients in the first place and making the income that they want to make. The next biggest thing would be getting those clients to follow through and do what you're trying to tell them to do and do their homework. And it's one of the big reasons that a lot of trainers get frustrated and disheartened in their work. And when dog trainers even quit, they will say that this is the one of the big factors that contributed to them wanting to give it up, which is really sad. We shouldn't have to feel that way. So there will always be people that don't comply 100%. That's the first thing I want you to know. No matter what we do and how much we work on it and how much we improve it, there'll always still be someone that doesn't follow through. But we can improve the percentage, I guess, of how many people are following through and really applying what they learn. But there'll always be some that are better than others. However, there's some things that we can ask ourselves if our clients aren't following through, if we're seeing this issue of what might be happening, and can we have a bit more understanding maybe of why it's happening. So the first thing I would ask is, am I being fair in my expectations? And if I were in this client's position with the homework that I'm being given and the lifestyle changes that I'm being given, how much would I comply? How much would I be able to do? What would that look like? Would it be 100% all of the time? Would it be something? Would it be nothing? With the lifestyle that I have and how busy that I am, what would that look like? Because we all have a lot going on in life. We all have busy lives. And just about everyone these days is struggling to fit in extra things. It's hard to make all of the changes that we're constantly told we need to make in our lives, working on what we eat, how much we exercise, anything that we want to learn with our hobbies, working on our relationships, taking care of the family, if they have kids, getting them to their extracurricular activities, helping the kids with their homework. There's a lot of commitments that people have on top of their careers, their work, just feeding themselves. Like adulting is hard, right? There's a lot we have to fit in. So if it were you and you had that sort of lifestyle, or maybe with the lifestyle you do have, could you fit it in? And you might say, well, yeah, my dogs are so important to me. I'm going to make sure that I train my dogs. But if you're a dog trainer, that's a lot more second nature and a lot more of a higher priority to you than it would be to your average dog owner. So what about if you think of a different example? And I'll give you an example that has applied to me. So I've been seeing a physio probably for like a year now to work on an injury. I've got tendinosis in both of my arms. Started out in one and it's gone to both. And that is from pole dancing, which is my hobby. And it's something that I really enjoy and it is important to me. And having this injury holds me back in it. And it causes literal pain to me nearly every day. So it's something that is bothering me all of the time. So I go to a physio and I pay him quite a lot of money to go and basically talk about how the pain's going, talk about the plan of what's going to fix it, which is exercises of lifting weights in a few different ways. So you've got like your bicep curl, pushing up, the row one where you lift it this way. And on top of that, I still want to practice stuff actually on the pole. So I've got to do this weight training using resistance bands, all sorts of things, push-ups, all these different exercises. And I've got to do that a few times a week to basically build strength to fix the issue. And I want to fix this issue and I would rate it as fairly important to me. And I still struggle to fit in all of that homework all of the time. And it's quite possible that if I had, well, not possible, it's a fact that if I had fit in all of that homework in the first place when I first started seeing the physio a year ago, I probably would be on top of it by now. I would be further along in the progress with fixing the issue. And I know this, and I still struggle to be 100% compliant because human nature is, it's hard to be 100% compliant in everything. But I still keep going to him. I still keep paying him. I still know what I have to do, and I still like the accountability of going there and telling him how much I've done or not done. And I do not blame him in any way whatsoever that my issue isn't fixed yet because I know I've got to do my part. But I still want that accountability and support of seeing the physio and doing what I can. And even though I haven't been 100% compliant, being somewhat compliant has helped get to a certain point and it all adds up. So even a little bit of compliance can help even if it's not 100%. So let me know in the comments if, and say hi to me in the comments because I can see a few of you watching. That sounded creepy, but say hi. Let me know if there's something that you've worked on in your life apart from your dogs. So something that maybe it was important, but it was hard to fit it in to be 100% compliant because I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that issue. The next thing to look at is the client maybe happier with the results that they're getting than what you are? Because as dog trainers, we're going to have higher expectations than them. It's going to be seeming like a higher priority to us than it might be to them. And not with every client. Sometimes we get clients that it's a really high priority and they are putting in maximum effort, and that's fantastic. But oftentimes they'll put in some effort and I'll get some degree of results. Hi Kelly, how you doing? And they're getting some results, but maybe we're thinking, oh, I really think the dog should be further along by now. And if this were my dog or if the dog was living with me, I would really expect more by now. But we're dog trainers. Of course, we're going to expect more if the dog was with us because we're going to do everything with so much more experience and knowledge behind us. And we're going to really be on top of it 24/7 because to us, noticing those things with the dog is second nature. But remember, to the client, this is all new and it's something that not just the dog is learning, but they're learning too. You've got two sentient beings learning to change their lives together, learning totally new routines and rules and things that they're learning together at the same time. So it's going to be a little more messy than if you are an expert and only the dog is learning something new. So it's important to remember that perspective as well. So as trainers, basically, we expect a lot more than the client does. They're often happier with a lot less than what we would like. But as long as they're happy and they're getting some results and moving forward, that's still a win, especially when we take into account everything else I mentioned about how busy people are and about how hard it is to make these lifelong changes, these permanent changes to their routine and lifestyle. So, in saying all that, I did mention earlier that there's some things that we can do to increase client compliance and increase the likelihood that people are doing their homework. So, let's talk about the things that we can do and the things that we as the trainer can control to get that compliance. And the first thing is to provide simple steps. So sometimes we go in there guns blazing and we have a lot of knowledge to share and a lot of changes they need to make. And it can be really easy to overwhelm the client. And if we overwhelm them and give them too much to work on too fast, it can be like, whoa, this is too much. Okay, I don't know where to start. I'm gonna get to that later. And then later becomes the next day and the next day, and they just can't fit it in because they're overwhelmed. And if you've ever been overwhelmed with information overload when you're learning something new, or if you look at something you want to change in your life, but there's so many parts of it that you need to change and you feel like, well, this is just all too much, you would know that it's a lot easier to let it fall by the wayside and be something you'll get to later if you're overwhelmed. So don't overwhelm them with too much to do at once. And one thing you could do is give them a handy printout that they could stick on the fridge with the new rules in short text, or maybe one for just this week's homework. These are the short, like just a few points in big text that they can stick on the fridge. This is what you're focusing on this week, and that's it. So I'm not talking about an A4 sheet of paper with size 11 text filling the whole thing. I'm talking about a few large font bullet points that they can easily glance at and see, that's right, constant reminder, going to be onto that. Or maybe some of it is like the rule changes in the house, and one or two things is practice sit for this many seconds, this many times. So really break it down to small steps. Hey Heather, and Heather has a great comment saying, I tend to tell my clients to remember the motto, progress not perfection, so they can celebrate the small successes and getting any good results. And as long as they're moving in the right direction, even if it isn't as fast as they are, I think they should be moving to be happy and keep plugging along. And that's excellent advice. Perfect. I totally agree. And who else do we apply that to? The dog. We're always talking about how we want to break it down to small steps and easy wins for the dog, and that the dog has to have little wins along the way, and we break it down into little incremental stages, and we put so much emphasis on that. We need to just remember that for the person as well. And we can apply so many of the same teaching skills to the human end of the leash as we do for the dog. So that's an excellent point, Heather. Thanks for bringing that up. And the next thing I was going to say is to reward them for their homework. So can we provide them with incentives? Is there some little reward, even if they don't really know, like just praising them and telling them what a great job they've done, giving them that feedback. Wow, you've done such a great job this week on this one thing, even if it's something really small, really tiny, because we always notice, right, if they've done something, if they've done their homework, or even to any little degree, we can see those changes in the dog. We can also tell if they haven't done anything at all and the dog's staying the same. But in that case, can you just look for one little thing that they're doing to praise them on? Because again, just like with the dogs, those little wins add up over time. Kelly says, I just keep reminding my clients when they say they haven't had time to look for opportunities throughout the day to make some progress in training. It doesn't need to be a solid 30 minutes training once a day. Great point too. Break it not just into little exercises, but very small time chunks, and looking for opportunities through the day, like when the dog's going through a doorway, about to have its dinner, and you're there, you've prepared the food, you're about to put the bowl down, get the dog to do something. 30 seconds of work, then eat. Little bits and pieces, and also those things that aren't really a training session, but add up through just day-to-day life, like getting the dog to hold a stay while you're watching TV or studying. Just have them at your feet on a bed, on a leash, and little things like that, depending what you're working on. Things on the walk, they're walking them anyway. Turn that into training time. So the biggest thing for people is time, right? They feel like, I don't have time for this. I can't fit this in. So if it's time thing, remind them and show them how easy it can be to fit it into things that they're already spending time on and just changing the way that they're doing it slightly. So little rewards, praise. And if you're having trouble with someone being compliant, you can also tell them, this is your homework. Contact me when you've done it, and then we'll do the next lesson. That can be a super strict way of doing things if you need to. And make sure you provide a time limit as well, because you don't want them to contact you in 12 months and say, hey, I've finally done it. Have them accountable though. And if you feel like you need to get a little strict, tell them, I'm going to be firm on you and you can call me for help. You can text me anytime you need, but I want you to get this little thing done before I come back. The other thing that's important is to make sure that you're charging enough for the client to feel invested. Sometimes this can make a massive difference. And enough for you to feel that you're being fairly compensated for not just your time, but for the energy that it takes to motivate the client and all the effort you're putting in to do your part. Have expectations clearly laid out in your written contracts too, and make it clear from the beginning that success depends on them following through with the program. So making sure everyone's on the same page, knowing that the way that this dog training works is that you as the owner need to follow through as well. And you do need to do some stuff at home, because sometimes people don't know how the dog training is going to work. Whatever type of dog training you do, even if it's board and train, they're going to have to make some changes at home. Some people don't know how it works and they think, I just give you money and you change my dog and we're done. So making it really clear from the beginning, sorry, that's not how it works. You do need to do some changes and some homework at home, and laying that out from the beginning so it's really clear and it's not a shock to them that they have to actually do something. So they're my recommendations for increasing compliance. Let me know if there's any other things that you've tried that we can give as tips for people that have worked for you as well. And the last thing I want to talk about is how can we cope with the fact that some people still won't comply, because it's important that we don't let ourselves get disheartened, frustrated, and down if there's still people that don't do their homework, because it happens. It's just life. So like we said earlier, have empathy for their situation and put yourself in their shoes, especially if they're just genuinely struggling. Because usually people do mean well. It's a little bit more rare, I think, if they just don't care at all, especially if you've addressed all those other points. But if people still don't comply and you've done everything that you can, realize that this is on them and don't take it personally. Let it go. I'm sure my physio doesn't take it personally if I don't do all the exercises that he's told me to do that we know are going to help fix my problem. That's on me. Next up, if they do mean well, but they're just struggling to fit it in or go at the pace that you think they should, offer them more training. If they're happy to pay, continue to help. That's just the arrangement that you have. You're not taking advantage of them. They might be fully happy to just continue to pay you and take it slower, and they might just go at a slower pace than some other people and need a longer time, which they can pay you for, and that's perfectly okay. The other thing you can do is, like we said earlier, put more accountability on clients who are non-compliant to the point of being difficult. So if they are being difficult, you can start being more strict and saying, you've got until this date to do this task. You can contact me anytime if you need help, but you contact me when it's done and that's when I'll come back. And just a reminder, your program expires on this date. So you need to get moving. When it comes to yourself, make sure that you are prioritizing looking after yourself and self care to prevent burnout, and giving yourself rewards for a job well done in any of the efforts that you do in your business as well. And like we spoke about in our last Facebook Live about pricing, make sure that you don't overbook yourself so you don't burn out, and you can focus on quality over quantity and focus on your current clients and providing them a top-notch service, giving them the support that they need while giving yourself the support that you need. So if you didn't watch my last live about offering a more premium service and about pricing, make sure you check that out if you're wondering how you can manage to work less and still earn more. And finally, make sure you check out my new program creation kit. It's only $37, and it will outline how you can create these premium programs, how to price them, and how to sell them to the people that need them. So I'm putting the link for that in the comments right now. It's only $37. It's a no-brainer. It's super high value. So it's got video lessons. It's got a breakdown of how a solo trainer even can create a 100K year or more, and how you can reverse engineer that to how many clients you need and break that down. I've pinned that in the comments below this video. Make sure you check it out. If you have any other tips for getting clients to do their homework or any questions you'd like me to answer, please put it in the comments below. And if you're watching along the replay, please play along as well. And I'm still going to keep an eye on the comments, and I'll be right there with you. And as always, feel free to reach out if there's anything I can help you with, or you want to find out more about working together. And happy Friday if you're there, or if you're almost there. It's nearly the weekend. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.